गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। आवाज़ नहीं आ रही, खाना बहुत खा लिया क्या? नहीं। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू Elets, Egov, Ravi, my friend Ritika for inviting me. जब आदमी क्रिकेट में रिटायर होता है तो उसको एम्पायर बना देते हैं, और जब ऑफिस से रिटायर होता है तो उसको मॉडरेटर बना देते हैं। तो मुझे भी मॉडरेटर बना दिया इन्होंने, अभी मैं रिटायर हो गया हूँ। बट आई विल कोट नवजीत सिंह सिद्धू। उसने कहा कि जब मैं फील्ड में था तो मेरे बैट ने एक्शन किया। अब मैं मॉडरेटर हूँ, तो माई वर्ड्स शुड मेक द मैजिक, and I hope that my words and the panel will create that magic here, and we will be more knowledgeable after this session. I don't guarantee that, but I hope we will have better understanding of the topic, and know much more clarity on our thoughts together. So as a moderator, thank you very much once again. Thanks panelists for going to bear with me for another half an hour, 45 minutes. So I'll start with a line which really actually caught my attention while I was preparing for this topic, which came from the movie called Rang De Basanti, which says, कोई भी देश perfect नहीं होता, उसे perfect बनाना पड़ता है. And I think that is what we have been doing. We have evolved. 1980, we were called ourselves as an agrarian economy. Today, 2024, we are 35 to 40% urban. Our census nahi hua hai, but if you look at our figures, we might have reached 50%. But Government of India, actually last budget, Honorable Finance Minister said that by 2030, we will be 50% urban. So, हम भारत गांव में रहता है वो खत्म हो चुका है, भाव अर्बन में रह रहा है. So we have evolved over a period of time. We have experimenting, did lot of new ways. We have moved from JNNURM to a smart city mission. We will talk about it. You can ask what is smart in the smart. That's a different question. But we have moved and evolved and experimented new ways of doing things and evolved. But now that we are leapfrogging, and 2030 we are SDG goals, which everybody says that if India wins, SDG wins. If India fails, SDG fails. So we have to be really challenging and continuously evolving. And I think the Government of India during this budget, actually, if you looked at it policy perspective, Government of India has made 9 transitions, which are the way to leapfrog towards the next a way of thinking on the urban issues or overall thinking of development cycle. And first is we want to move away, and this is the transition we want to do it. We want to move away from strategic master planning way of doing things to a strategic and spatial and integrated planning. And we have talked about this into, I think Anirudh also talked about, which if we have to do it, we need to really build the capacities. And a lot of programs are being talked about during the budget on capacities. We are talking about data-driven dreams. And that's another second transition which we are looking at it. We don't want what is coming. We want based on evidence what is coming, what our policy narrative to be. National urban platforms, which Government of India is trying to work out, are the exercise for national data-driven dreams. Then we are talking about, rather than input-based or process-based, we are talking about now quality of life-based driven approaches. And that's where we are talking about how is the health doing, how is the sanitation doing, what is the water. So we are getting into a more granular way of looking at things. Again, as UP is making, every city in the country is talking about, we are moving towards, rather than just this is my output, we are saying what is your identity you want to be. You want to be $1 trillion state, you want to be a climate focused city. What is your identity? And that's the way the question we are asking, what city I want to be, what is those broad outcomes. So we are moving towards the performance based contracts, and grants and incentives are being leveraged rather than just taken it from government कि Government of India से पैसा आएगा वो तो मेरा है बाकी काम करना नहीं है. So इसलिए नहीं, but we are making more move towards the grants and incentives and link them with the performance based contracts. We talked about tech-led innovations. I think you must have discussed in the morning, but innovation is the key word over here. We are talking about how do we move away from business as usual approach to a new ways of doing it. Look at out-of-box thinking, and I think every city is experimenting with that. You have a lot of industry people here, and he talked about capacity building. Right now, our capacity building, if you really look at it, is a tick marks. कितने लोगों ने ट्रेनिंग किया, कब ट्रेनिंग किया, and number of training which we have done. But we are now moving it. What is the industry focused training? What is industry looking? If industry is looking for EV, now we are changing, then how do we create our skills for the industry? So very linking capacities with the industry, that's another area. We talked about I talked about climate, and right now, we as part of my earlier job also, while we talk about climate, Ministry of Environment देखता है, Urban Infrastructure Ministry of Urban Development देखता है. There's no mainstreaming of climate, and also other area of we are moving out towards this. How do we bring climate and inclusion within our planning thinking? And unless we mainstream that, so we will not be talking about green transitions, which we have been talking about, mobility, EV. These are the new ways of looking at things. And last, which is our ninth, and he called it 7 rainbows. I call it no kadam, 9 steps of or no ratan of India's changing pathways. And last is impact. कितने लोगों को actual फायदा मिला? Can we put a number and more focus on monitoring and impact assessment? So that's the where we are moving this 9th pathways. That's what I think that change is happening. We are also learning by doing exercise. It's not that we know everything and we want to do something. We will learn, and I think industry has to guide the ministry if we want to change, and it has to be collaborative approach altogether. Because at this moment of time, whether we believe it or not, we are like Arjuna, who is sitting on the standing on the battle of Mahabharata, and he doesn't know कि गांडीव उठाऊं कि नहीं उठाऊं, मारूं कि नहीं मारूं, because he had he was fortunate enough that he had a Krishna. We don't have a Krishna. We have to create our own Gita. We have to develop our own Krishna, and that Krishna and Gita will come from collaborations and discussions, dialogues and deliberations through this type of platforms where we can learn and exchange ideas and learn what works and what does not work. So having said that, मैं इतना ही ज्ञान दे सकता था, उससे ज़्यादा मैं दूंगा नहीं. I'll focus on the stalwarts who are sitting. When I know Vasudevan Saab from his Varanasi days, and I, all of us know Varanasi is a constituency of Prime Minister. So I will start with the quote again from the film Diwar. Sir, मेरे पास तो माँ है. तो मेरे पास तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया है. तो आपके पास नॉलेज है, आपके पास साधन है, आपके पास संसाधन है. Institutions are there with you, resources are with you. How are you blending this knowledge to make a walk, from knowledge ways to a walking this knowledge and making a pathways for development based on your smart solutions, smart technologies, and how do you blend them, make it climate and inclusive focused pathways for the, as what is linking what you are saying to the broad vision, what Ashutosh has talked about.
With such a marvelous opening, I don't know what to say. Well, he rightly put Varanasi. Even the forenoon inaugural session, several speakers mentioned about Varanasi for whatever reasons. And the geopolitical importance of Varanasi, I need not to emphasize. It has been said by the moderator. Someone in the previous session asked a question about smart cities not progressing. I would like to first answer that. Because a lot of people, especially the public, who are not involved in the smart city program, have a lot of misconception about smart cities program. They think that the 100 cities will suddenly become entirely different, they will become smart. Not really so. The concept of smart city in India, what the government of India has adopted, is entirely different from what a smart city is called in Europe or America or Australia. Because we are in a country where we don't have the basic core infrastructure 100% in all cities. We don't have all the basic IT, MIS and e-governance systems in place in all cities. So we just can't wait. The entire India, all the cities get a core infrastructure. We have all the civic communities. Then only we start doing things. Then we can't be launching rockets and satellites. So the government decided to parallelly start. So the concept of smart city in India, the smart city mission government of India follows, is basically build the gaps in the core infrastructure wherever it is lacking. Build the IT, MIS, and e-governance systems wherever it is short. Bridge those gaps. Also, simultaneously do advanced ICT interventions. That is how the cities have been given a limited fund. When I say a limited fund, it is 1,000 crores for each city, 500 crores coming from the state and 500 from the center. Out of that also some 70 crores go for administrative and other expenses. So we are left with 930 crores per the city. So within that 930 crores, and again a freedom was first time in the history of government program, the freedom was given to the smart cities under management and the board of directors to decide what project you want to do based upon the needs of the city, the aspirations of the citizens, and the other stakeholders. What is needed, you do it. So that is the fundamental, the change in the paradigm, how the smart cities operate, I want to put it. So with the limited fund, whatever you might think that 930 crores is a large amount, but a city which is of so many square kilometers with so much of population problems, it's not a very big. So what they done is they given what is called a concept of area-based development. One of the moderator earlier mentioned. So you have to choose a small area within the city and develop it as a model. That is number one. Again, we need to make it very, very city specific. So coming back to Varanasi, so what is Varanasi? Varanasi is considered as one of the oldest city in the world. Some people say 5,000 years, some people say it's even older than that. The civilization has started and it is still continuing a living city. So apart from the geopolitical importance, it is considered as a spiritual capital. Millions of people from all over, all walks of life, from both abroad and India, they come and throng the city because people believe God Shiva lives there. So there are three things for which people come to Varanasi. It is also called as Banaras. It is also called as Kasi. So they come to worship Lord Shiva, Kasi Vishwanath temple. They come to have a boat ride or have a view of the Ganges, want to have a dip in Ganges. And they also want to have what is called a Ganga Aarti. And there are other things what they want to do. These are essential things for which, so the entire life, economy of the Varanasi revolves around these three things. So our project, the smart city projects, also had to tackle this problem. So what is the problem? It's one of the oldest city. It is a legacy, it's a glory, but same time, it is a challenge. The city has got 3 feet wide, 2 feet wide lanes even today in and around the temple, through which the people pass through and go to the temple. And, one of the first project Varanasi Smart City took is to build what is called a Gosala. Kana open, we call it. And people were ridiculing and questioning, what smart city you are supposed to use technology? Why did you build a Gosala? People couldn't understand the logic. We were about to implement an intelligent traffic management system, surveillance system. And the city is full of, abandoned cows. So how do I run my traffic management system if I don't first mitigate? So the first project was, we built a Gausala and at the outskirts near Ganga and mitigated them with a good veterinary hospital and good facilities and this thing. That is how we started our project. So this glaring example I am giving you because our entire focus of smart city development in Varanasi or Kasi is focused upon the pilgrims, the tourists, the heritage, the culture, the spirituality. So how to preserve it, how to promote it, because the entire economy is running on the pilgrims and tourists. So all our projects are oriented towards that. Not that we ignore technology. And because I mentioned about the Kashi Vishwanath temple, 40,000 to 50,000 people used to visit the temple. And after the Kashi Vishwanath Dham, after inauguration by the Honorable Prime Minister, the crowd has swelled to 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs each day. And sometimes on some days it goes to 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 8 lakhs also. So that's a huge crowd. It's good for the economy, but it puts onus on the civic facilities. Water supply, sewerage, solid waste management, traffic management, everything is at stake. So all our projects are focused on using technology and mitigating and managing these issues. So we have built what is called a Kashi Integrated Command and Control Center. It's opposed all smart cities are supposed mandated to do that, where we have intelligent traffic management system. We have a solid management system, a lot of people were appreciating. We have implemented a very, very robust solid waste management system. The city has, cleanliness has improved like anything. We have environmental management system. We have a geographical information system. We try to do this technology. And Kashi or Varanasi is the only city we have also, in addition to the command control center, we have an advanced surveillance system. We have 3,500 high definition surveillance cameras, and we have a separate data center for that. And we have 21 artificial intelligence features running. So this is for the crime prevention, because the biggest challenge is the crowd management of the city. So the safety and security of the pilgrims and the women and children was paramount importance. So we have this system running. We also try to do, like I said about people come for watching the Ganga Aarti and the temple. So we have put some 6 large LED screens around the city, where the live streaming of the temple Aarti and Ganga Aarti happens, so that people, if they are not able to go to the temple also, they are able to see from the vantage points in the city, they are able to watch. So all our projects, like there were no parking lot and all, so, and there was no place to construct a parking. So what we did, we dug up some of the biggest parks available, and we constructed a basement car parking and restored the, greenery and parks at the ground level. So these type of interventions we have done. We try to also do, like somebody talked about, creating the carbon from the solid waste management. That is, the NTPC has started that. We collect something like 650 to 800 metric tons of garbage, solid waste every day. Out of that, at least 200 gets converted into charcoal, reusable by the thermal power plants. And we separate the C&D waste and recycle and reuse it. A lot of other byproducts are being used. We are also supporting what is called a CNG methane plant on a CSR basis funded by Adani Group. So we are producing methane gas. And we are promoting the solar energy, renewable energy everywhere. And Varanasi Smart City is also spearheading, acting as an aggregator for the carbon credit. We are trying to monetize that so that there is a circular economy. We are also helping in converting all the boats which are running on the river Ganges from diesel to CNG. Again, there is an environmental contribution to that. It saves the sound and noise pollution, everything. So we are trying to use the technology in every front and every possible way, so that environmental mitigation is there, sustainability is there, city's economy improves. Also, we try to use the technology. And I would like to finish by saying, maybe I'm talking too long. One thing, I talked about the Kashi Integrated Command and Control Center. It is like a white elephant, huge infrastructure with a data center with a large O&M cost. We were really not knowing when we commissioned it, what is that we are going to do that in the coming days. But came that, what you call the COVID. And we have declared that a command control center as a COVID war room. So we managed the entire COVID through the command control center. The doctors were shifted, everything was shifted, everything was centrally monitored and controlled. And we have used all the technologies possible. Within 48 hours, we have developed a mobile app for the public to know what is COVID and what to do and what not to do. Several things we have done, and we have won several awards. Even Elets has given last time award to us for the best use of the Kasi Integrated Command Control Center. So these are the things I would like to hand over to the moderator.
No, thank you very much, and I fully agree with you. While we are talking about smart city mission, it's as you said, 930 crores, and so much of things have been done based on things. But as public also know, एक चुटकी कीमत सिंदूर की कीमत तुम क्या जानो रमेश बाबू, वो रमेश बाबू को वो आपकी कीमत पता नहीं है. So the communication between the citizen and the city, there is a disconnect, and unless you get that connection and communication right, I think we will not be able to communicate what we have achieved, because these are incremental, small steps which leads to a larger goal. And I think we need to really build on those building blocks to make it and communicate to the citizens.
Can I, if I can make a quick point here, like sir rightly mentioned, I think there is certainly intent. There is also policy making. There is also a structure in place. But many times I think we are not able to communicate what we are doing or what we want to do. So for all the industry people here, we would invite suggestions which we can incorporate in policy making as well. We have spoken, like I mentioned earlier, with the EV tractor manufacturing companies, and we have taken their suggestions into account. We have even spoken with the farmers. So we are very welcome, and we try to build that into policy as much as we can within the framework of the law. So we are very open to that. And just to give an example, that yesterday we met someone, they told us that, nothing is happening in the defense corridor, and they have actually visited and there is no progress on the ground, when actually, I'm sure all of you know, AK-203 is being made very successfully in UP. So I think somewhere we need to communicate better, and we are working on that. And we are welcome to policy amendments and suggestions. Already when it regards financial investment, we are putting in place what new kind of structures can be put. Already under the automatic route, compulsorily convertible debentures are allowed. You can also take the benefit of compulsorily convertible preference shares. Other kinds of instruments fall under FPI, if some of you are aware. So we are trying to build that flexibility into our FDI policy. Our FDI policy gives us incentives in addition to the central government policy. So we are exploring new instruments of financing. We are approaching foreign institutional funds. We are approaching banks. So all in all, we are very focused and we are open to suggestions.
Thank you, Anirudh. I'll move it to the next panelist, Anil ji from EESL. EESL, sorry. EESL. अनिल जी, जिंदगी जीने के दो ही तरीके हैं. एक, जो हो रहा है होने दो और बर्दाश्त करते जाओ, या फिर जिम्मेदारी उठाओ उसे बदलने की. ये भी रंग दे बरसंती का ही डायलॉग है. तो EESL ने कैसे ये जिम्मेदारी उठाई है स्मार्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर करने में और लोगों के सिटीजन्स को बढ़िया बनाने में. आई हैंड ओवर टू यू फॉर योर इंटरवेंशन.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for making it very interesting. Yeah, audible, na? So, actually, first I will tell what is the mandate of EESL. As a Ministry of Power entity, we are mandated to envisage what are the energy efficiency options which can be adopted and scaled all over India. And for this, we focus on the futuristic technologies. I will just first tell you one very simple example, which everybody is aware of, that when this 100-watt GLS bulbs were there, then and CFL bulb has just come up. At that time, LED technology was already existing in worldwide, and in some manufacturers were started producing it at 450 rupees cost. So there, and it was, the price was so deterrent that it was not going to be adopted. Though the energy, it was very efficient, 100 versus 11 watt. Now it is 9 watt. So that kind of efficiency we have achieved. So what has happened at that time? EESL took the initiative and then piloted that model of that bulbs. And then what happened that, and then we tendered for procuring crores of bulbs. And we sent a signal that now government of India is very interested in putting these bulbs throughout the country. So industry which were wary of putting the plants or investing in the design part of this, started thinking of moving ahead, and then started producing it. And in the total span of 3 years, we procured 37 crores of bulbs. So what happened? The industry started making it, and it becomes a very organic growth, and various kinds of industries and plants came in India. So that way India started making it. It is a really make in India example, and this is the model which we, and in this process what happened? In this process actually the price of the bulb also came. Now it is 70 rupees. So that is happening. So that is so this is why I have told you this example. So what is the model you have to understand? You have to understand what is the technology, efficient technology will work, and then you have to pilot it and then aggregate the demand and then start deploying that technology. So that is the model EESL is adopting throughout all the projects. And now we have come a long way that we have gone into cooling sector, industrial motor sectors, and agricultural pumps, municipal pumps, and various kinds of industrial efficiency projects. So various kinds of, and this the induction cooktops, electric vehicles, and solar parks and solar rooftops, now solar rooftops also. So there is no defined technology for EESL. Any technology, I am throwing this to entire house, that any technology, if you are thinking that it is a very efficient technology and it must be adopted throughout the India, and it has a potential to be scaled up in entire India. So EESL will welcome that kind of prospects. And the thing is that it should be scalable. If it is, if that technology is for certain pocket which is not scalable for India, so that kind of, let's say, industry or area will implement on their own. We are interested which can be scaled up throughout the India so that the net carbon footprint of India comes down. So this is the entire scenario, how EESL is working. And coming to this urban area and this, so various kinds of initiatives are being taken, and Anil has also told about for the UP and Varanasi, sir has already elaborated. So these kinds of steps are being taken throughout India. And so we have to see, smartness is for the living infrastructure, efficient, resource and energy efficient. And then when efficiency comes into the picture, then conservation also comes, conservation, and then ease of convenience of living, safety. These are the things which comes into the picture. So when, and the net energy import of the city should always reduce. So that should be the prime focus. When you are thinking of building a sustainable thing, it should be a prime focus. That net energy import. The net energy import means what? Industry should consume less energy. Domestic consumer should, commercial consumer, and then municipality should also consume less energy. So energy efficient products, which EESL is already into it. So that has to be adopted. EESL is taking various measures to get that that energy efficient products to be socialized. So this should be handled by all these smart city projects and everything. So whatever the best energy efficient standards are, the EESL is all the time bringing those products. For example, let's say I am talking about AC. So AC 5-star you will obtain when ISER in Indian Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. When it is ISER 5.0, Bureau of Energy Efficiency will give it 5-star. 5.1 also 5-star, 5.2 also 5-star. So what EESL has now done, it has brought 5.8 and 6.2 ISER ACs. They are 5-star ACs because BE has not revised the standards. So they are going to revise the standards also very soon. So what does this is 5.8 and 6.2 ISER ACs are the most efficient at the market, and when we go for these kinds of technology, we aggregate the demand, the price also comes down. So these ACs, which through EESL, which with these specifications are now available to the consumers at the rate of 5-star, normal 5-star ACs rates. So these kinds of adoption should be there. And there should be adoptions of, let's say, India has mandated for IE2 motors for industry. What EESL has done, has brought IE3 motors, experimented with IE3 motors, and then tendered it and procured lakhs of IE3 motors and deployed in industries. So now industries have directly transitioned from IE1 and less motors to IE3. IE2 transition industry has not seen. For example, you are not remembering that GLS bulb to CFL, GLS to LED, straight away it has come. Very short time was there for the CFL. The same way IE2 motors industry has not seen. IE1 to IE3. Now we are bringing IE4 motors. So whenever you are planning a city, so you must promote this energy efficient equipments. BLDC fans are coming. Lists are unlimited. BLDC fans will consume 28 to 32 watts. Other conventional fans are consuming 75 watts. So drastic reduction. So that kind of reduction is there. So these kinds of appliances must come into the picture when we are thinking of smart cities, and how this is consumer based. When consumers will be there, DISCOM will come into the picture. Demand side management should be enforced through the DISCOM. There must be incentives for through DISCOM for the demand side management. So this is how to drive the consumers, and this, and the municipalities are to be driven. That this municipal pumps should be energy efficient, lighting should be efficient, they must be IoT controlled, because, and these light poles in the future are going to be the enter IoT nodes. Are going to, these light poles will be serving a host of facilities, various kinds of facilities. They will be EV charging facilities, they will be having EV charging facilities also. These will be called as smart poles, not only light poles. And there will be IoT nodes also. These will be, and they will give you the hazard warning, and they will have the SOS button also. So various kinds of facility, and the pollution, and what is the pollution level. So these kinds of information you will be getting through the poles only. So these kinds of total planning is required when we are going through the holistic approach of
Thank you, Anil.
Sir, one quick point to what sir already mentioned. So under Lucknow Metro, for example, we have successfully gotten 30,000 cars off the roads, and around 8,000 tons of carbon is being saved. And if you would take over a 6 to 7 year period, 32,000 tons has already been saved because of what ma'am mentioned. I think ma'am is not here, the regenerative braking system. And Lucknow, we have got the entire e-mobility plan. So all of these coordinated steps, I think. And one last, private sector, I should mention the private sector players are interested is also under the wood is good for agroforestry combined with horticulture. So if anyone would like more details, they can connect.
The e-vehicle is one thing, that for clean city, e-vehicle is very much required. And then we must ensure that our power is coming from the clean source. Let's say we are using thermal power plant and then e-vehicle. So your reduction is not, carbon footprint is still there. So the kind of, you have to, like engineering and project background, you have to think of that your generation should be also green. Then how green is this green EV? That becomes the question. So that the locally it is clean, but it is polluting somewhere else. So we have to consider that also. So renewable mix is very much required.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Anilji. I think you did bring out that sustainability can be affordable also. And I think that's beautifully put together. But as coming from the urban local bodies, and I've worked not Delhi, Lucknow and all, but ground level, small cities, our tier 2 and tier cities, I think they need to be supported with tools, templates, technologies, training, and transfer of knowledge. Unless you have these 5 T's with them. And second thing, which I feel, your language, and I'm sorry, I've worked with 30-year cities, and my language is 2 different language. We need to talk on the same language. Your dictionary and my dictionary has to be a common dictionary. Then only the message will go back. Because the language of climate, or energy efficiency, or green transition, which has to be a language of cities. Unless it becomes a language of cities, the scale and speed which you are talking about will not be achieved. So my only thing is that how do we convert that is a much more important. Yeah.
When you have made a very right point. Let's say I am talking about a very efficient AC. Why somebody will go for that?
Exactly.
Because other AC is also available. So first thing what we are doing, aggregating the demand and bringing the price low. First thing. Second, after lowering it, you still have a 3-star AC. Wow. Then you have to see, then in the operational, what is the operational cost of that? That education we must go with the customers. For this LED bulb, it is now very much, everybody is very much aware that 100 watt versus 9 watt now. And so that is the enormous saving. So that kind of saving chart must be there with the consumers. For motors, it is there with the industries. Electric vehicles, people are very much aware that they will, operational cost of ownership will be much less. So that kind of education must come in the campaign when you are driving the smart cities. And that is why I brought in the concept of demand side management, which will be driven through regulatory commissions of the state, and the consumers will be incentivized for using these efficient products and smart products.
Yeah, great, thank you. Anirudh, you have already talked about your presentation, which was excellent. My only small question to you is, because of the paucity of time, we have to close. A very small question to you. हमने अच्छी पॉलिसी बनाते हैं, एंड आई बीन पार्ट ऑफ इट, सो आई डोंट ब्लेम यू ऑल्सो. हम बहुत शब्द भी अच्छे यूज़ करते हैं, हमारी कंपोजिशन भी बहुत बढ़िया होती है, हमारा म्यूज़िक भी AR रहमान का होता है, पर फिर दिल छैया छैया क्यों नहीं करता है?
नहीं सर, अभी इसमें आई जस्ट वांट टू से कि इसमें अभी पूरे फोकस और कमिट, आई एम रिपीटिंग द वर्ड्स बट दैट्स हाउ बेस्ट आई कैन पुट देम, that we have a very efficient monitoring committee under Honorable Chief Secretary Sir, and he's taking personal reviews each and every item, and every industry, every business that is stuck in any area can write. It's a very transparent system. They can put their issues under the Nivesh Sarthi portal or through the Udyog Bandhu, Udyog Mitra system, and then it is addressed in Lok Bhavan. We also have video conferences. Chief Secretary Sir himself looks into the problems. Even at every level of the organization, we are looking at problem solving. We are meeting with the people, and I am sure that now we are well on way and we will achieve our targets. And if there is anything, I think the biggest thing is we are now open and receptive to suggestions and corrective action. So we don't say yes, we are doing everything right. If we are making mistakes, we agree that we might be faltering somewhere. We are open, we take suggestions, and we take corrective action. I think that is it.
No, thank you. And again, I just sent from my side, and what I have learned 30 years of my experience in thing, this top-down approaches, we are doing it for you, does not work. It is what they want, and it's how do you people want them. And I think that change of paradigm from the bottom to up has to work. So local solution, local problems, and how you are really incorporating that into your larger plan is what I think will work, rather than just thinking that,
definitely
top-down will work.
Not so top-down in the sense that there is top-down monitoring to ensure that the projects are done, the work is executed. And then when it comes to the formulation of the plan, like I mentioned, there are 58,000 panchayats. We are taking information from everyone. I think we are one of the only states, if I may say the only state, that has done an entire district mapping exercise where we have mapped the financial resources that are required for achieving climate action plans, that are required for development, that are required under e-mobility. So we are doing this entire exercise, and we have done this thing where panchayat, where climate heroes, this is with reference to climate change. Otherwise, we have Udyog Mutras on the ground. We have regular discussions with the panchayat. And if I may go down even one more level, that each of the new people or each of the officers or the new people who are joining are being assigned to certain districts. If I may give my example, on a personal level, I have been assigned to certain districts, and each one of us has been told that you must go to these backward districts, for example, Ghazipur, Mao, Pratapgarh, etc. And you must work. So I think it is a very grassroots kind of approach which is being now taken from very clear signal from the leadership that we have to work at the grassroots level also. And we are working with total commitment to that, if I may say that.
One example I would like to take, that somewhat shifting from the urban area, but it affects the urban side also, that agriculture pumps are very inefficient. That everybody knows. So, and they are getting very subsidized electricity or with electricity without cost. So they are least bothered about the efficiency of the pumps. So what one program of ours have done, we had an agriculture demand side management program. What it has done, it was very well implemented in UP and Andhra. Then what happened in that way, various lakhs of pumps have been replaced by the DISCOM, not by farmers, by the DISCOM, and they saved into their cost of free energy. And that cost, and then energy was available for them for other users. So that kind of, it was directly involving the farmers. So that kind of innovative methods are to be brought in so that people are very much involved.
Just one more point, like I mentioned earlier, with regards to taking feedback at the grassroots level, FDI policy maybe is more relevant to businesses, but it percolates down. So there we took the feedback. We have already moved the amendment to modify. Similarly, in CBG, that 5-kilometer road, we took input from the businesses, and it works to augment the local incomes also. So I think these areas we are quite great.
Thank you, the panelists, and I open it to the audience now. You have heard from 3 hours. One talked about restoring the existing culture and economy of Varanasi. You talked about revitalizing the energy efficiencies and all, and you have listened to Anirudh, who talked about regeneration of new ideas and new ways of doing things. So ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश तीनों आ गए इसमें. तो अब आपके ऊपर क्वेश्चन है, आप बताइए कि आपको किससे क्वेश्चन पूछना है. Please, yeah, you lady first from here. Yeah.
That's a Tony. You don't know my life. But you like it. Check.
Introduce yourself and then ask question, please. And be short so that we can manage in time. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Hitesh ji. This is Preeti, and I work as a public policy professional. And my question is entirely to anyone who picks it up. But it's about the plan for UP to become the next big economy. You talk about climate change. You don't really mention about the natural ecosystem and what are the trades-off in terms of infra-led development. What about the landscape, the natural landscape, and what are the trade-offs that you really encounter? Those kind of mitigation strategies were missing.
If I may, so to elaborate more for paucity of time, I didn't go too much into detail. I think the most relevant thing in here is the wood is good concept. That relates agroforestry to income generation. So that means India has a nationally determined contribution in terms of the carbon sink that it has to generate. This is part of the larger Sendai framework, Paris framework, etc. Under that, I think 3.2 gigatons or something is the contribution for India. Out of that, Uttar Pradesh has taken the onus on itself to generate around 175 million in the next 2 to 3 years itself. And therein it has introduced a policy, like I mentioned to you, agroforestry under the PPP system. And what is innovative and novel in this is also the PPT model, whereby rural entrepreneurs or any other businessman who wants to get into this can benefit. And so agroforestry, essentially, I'm sure most of you know agroforestry, what agroforestry is. What we're trying to do here is involve policy making also in this. So agroforestry, some land is left below at the tree level, at the root level. So what we're trying to do is to combine this with Ayush. I'm diverting a little bit, but just to show you the income generation potential of the climate mitigation that we're doing and relevant to the carbon sink. So we are trying to build in the policy that is in line with Ayush, wherein you can use horticulture because there are subsidies up to 60%. So you can use that part of the land and we will build that into policy as well. Already there are subsidies for doing this agroforestry thing. So that is one of the steps that we are taking. Secondly, when you mentioned about taking the land, if I understood correctly, the landscape, correct? Taking the landscape into account. So definitely we are doing that. That's why we have special schemes for Bundelkhand, etc. And that means special schemes not only for giving incentives on industrial land, that means in special schemes for the one district, one product, and all of this incorporate. So these are holistic concepts that incorporate environmental mitigation, carbon mitigation as well. So there's a whole plan of how we have arrived at what product should be there, how something should be developed, what is the way forward. EV is one aspect of it that is towards the urban mobility that also will have benefits and reduce carbon dependency, But so this is the approach where, for example, if there are certain areas that are ecologically sensitive, then we have assigned, for example, some forestry related products or other milk-based products or food and dairy-based products. So like that, we have done the whole mapping. And there's a knowledge center in Lucknow, which has, the whole database, and we've done a whole mapping exercise. So that's how we tried.
We had some questions, gentlemen over here.